Welcome to the Higher Power Podcast, where your safe zone for discovering your true self is created. We are your hosts, Frank Sieben and Jill Humphreys. Hi everyone, and welcome to our 15th episode of our Higher Power Podcast. And before we start, we would love to thank you for all the lovely messages we receive throughout the week again, and for your continuous support. This is really what means a lot to us, so we are beyond grateful for everything you share with us. Keep on sending, guys, keep on sending, because this makes our day or our week. Today, Jill and I would love to talk about something we're constantly in and we are striving for. And this is called flow state.
I just want to take a deep breath here, Frank, because everything that you described there is a place that you and I go in the zone. And when people talk to us, they always say, "How are you guys?" And we all go, "We're in flow state."
Yes.
And they kind of look at us and they go,
automated reply.
Yeah. And they kind of look at us and go, "Okay."
What does that mean?
Nobody asks. I think they dare not to ask, because we then go into flow state by describing how we feel. That we feel good, we feel happy, we feel in a state of peak performance, we feel that we're slightly above and looking down on something that we're creating. We see the bigger picture. In fact, Frank, you and I actually were on a course yesterday with a very good mentor of ours, and she showed us a picture of a guy and his head was in the clouds. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that picture. He was in a spiral of clouds, just lighting up. And this is how we feel. We are tapping into a totally new universe when we do that. And when we are in this state, it's absolutely amazing. You don't need any more motivation from the outside to do something. You have this intrinsic motivation. And this is what gives you this inner happiness, this inner belief that you're constantly happy.
Is there such a thing as constantly being happy? We've just listened to a TED talk by a doctor. I think you better give his name, Frank, because I was getting stuck with his surname. So please share that with us.
We've been on a TED talk with Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, and he is a happiness researcher and a doctor. And he dedicated his whole life to find out what makes people happy and what makes life worth living.
I like the way this doctor used a graph, and he put it up on his TED Talk, and we can actually include the link underneath this podcast so you can actually see what we're doing. And he points that in order to achieve a flow state, a balance must be struck between the challenge of a task and the skill of the person doing the task. And then the diagram points to what he calls the sweet spot, where a level of the challenge is high and the skills that you have to meet that challenge are also high. And that is at the point that you enter the flow state, because he gave us a list of emotions. Apathy was a low challenge and a low skill, because really we're not engaging in anything, are we? So
no.
Boredom is another low challenge, mediocre skills. Sometimes it does take energy to be bored. Relaxation, again, was a low challenge, but it's kind of high skill, because you have to be aware that you're switching off. You're not getting swept away by any emotions. So you're actually in control of all your senses and you're in control of your mind.
And then there was anxiety and worry, which implements that you are challenging something where you don't have the skills for.
And then there was arousal. Now, arousal is very challenging, but it's mediocre skills. And if you're in arousal, you can move into flow by developing more skills.
Yes.
But on the other hand, if you're in control, you can enter flow by making the task more challenging. How amazing is all this? And would you have actually thought that a flow state was something that you work towards and you get good at?
Yes, in flow state, your action and your awareness just melt into one. You become one with the task or the action you're doing. And there's no room for thoughts of failure or for any other information, actually. This means that you're completely focused on what you're doing.
And I love the description. How does it feel like to be in flow? You're completely involved in what you're doing, so you're completely focused and concentrated. There is a sense of ecstasy of being outside of everyday reality. There's a great inner clarity. You know what needs to be done, and you're getting immediate feedback on how well you're doing. You know that the activity is doable, that you have the necessary skills to complete the task successfully, and you lose your sense of self and all your worries and concerns drift away. You lose track of time and you're completely focused on the present moment. And there's an intrinsic motivation. Whatever produces the flow becomes its own reward.
This is actually what you just described gives me goosebumps, Jill. You know why?
It's us.
This is us, and this is actually how I feel when I'm in my zone. I call it zone.
Yeah.
And flow state in my studio when I'm creating new music. And I can share a personal experience here.
That would be cool, Frank. Go into flow state where you go to with your music. That would be amazing, because it's sometimes hard, like the doctor said, that some people have to work hard at getting into flow state. Some people do not have that resonance with something that they can totally lose themselves in. But for somebody that does, like yourself, can you share us an experience when you're in flow state? What does it feel like?
Yeah. I think happiness does not simply happen. You need to engineer and cultivate the circumstances. You do this by setting challenges. And when I go into flow state in my studio, all my sounds I work with are getting more intense. It feels like I'm really in the music, not only looking at it, but really in the music, like the director of the whole setup. And my creativity just bursts out. It's just flowing out. It feels effortless effort. This is how it feels. I'm kind of frozen because I only focus on my music and my whole world around me disappears. It seems like time stops and I dive into every instrument I tweak. I dive into every instrument I play. And I fully absorb all the impressions I get because I get immediate feedback. If I press a key, I get immediate feedback of my sound. And I have no distractions. To me, it feels like I'm in the speaker being able to craft everything the way I envision it. It actually feels that I am becoming the music myself. And I'm aware of all the details in this music. And I'm paying attention to everything. And it's self-created happiness within my flow state. Because I know I'm inspired, I know I'm focused, and I know I will succeed. I know something great will come from this. And this really makes it meaningful to me without any expectation of fame or something. I could really do this for the rest of my life. It's so intense. I'm getting the shivers here.
And also, I think it's amazing when you're in your creation flow. Then you are creating something. And I think it's mainly, Frank, you give out, as we always say on here, spread the love.
Yeah.
But you give out that love from that place of your creation in flow state.
Jill, I give all my love into the music, always. Otherwise, I would not be able to do this.
But most of our listeners will resonate with all of that because the meditations that we've put together, the spoken word, the music in behind it, the actual book passages that we read out, all of that music is lovingly put together and created in flow state for us so that the essence of the message is exactly where it comes from, and that's the heart.
Yeah, we speak from the heart and we operate from the heart. And this is shown in everything we do. That's so true. And you can translate what I just described, you can translate into everything we do, because I noticed that this is not only the state we're in or I am in when I do my music. This is the state we are in when we are together creating the podcast, when we are together masterminding, when we are just together creating amazing content to help other people. And I think this is also something that makes it really flow state-ish, I would say, that we really want to and push ourselves to help other people, to inspire other people and to spread the love.
Interestingly enough, the idea of flow that the doc talks about here came into being as a result of some research they did on happiness. And the researchers began asking themselves, what does make us happy? And when are we most happy? And as a result of the research, these psychologists realized that being able to enter the flow state, which is an enjoyable experience, is a key component of happiness.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And this is exactly where you can put yourself in every day. It's a choice. You choose that every day. And we choose to be in flow state every day. And we do this by putting ourselves out there where we find uncertainty, but where we know we have the skill to master that.
And I like the way that they describe how to achieve the flow state. And there are a few things that I'm going to list here from an article.
Oh yeah, please share that, Jill. That's really valuable.
And the article is Daring to Live Fully, Live the Length and Width of Your Life. And this was written by a lady lawyer entrepreneur, actually, called Marilisa Freiberger. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Admin from Georgetown University in Washington. And she is a Juris Doctor from Georgetown University Law Center. And it's amazing, you would not think of a solicitor going into the happiness flow state mode, because the solicitor is there to represent somebody who is not in flow state. But it's really interesting how she writes. So I'm going to share with you how to achieve the flow state. First one is find a challenge. Choose something that you enjoy doing. It can be anything, whether it's playing the piano, working on a novel, skiing, horseback riding, playing golf, whatever it is that you can lose yourself in. Second is developing your skills in order to meet the challenge. And this is very, very important, because remember that if something is too easy, you're going to get bored.
Yeah.
And your mind is likely to wander, so you won't achieve the flow state. And if something is too hard, you're going to be overwhelmed and you won't be able to achieve that subconscious competence that is necessary for the flow state. Because don't forget, subconscious is 90% of everything that we do every nanosecond. The other fact is set clear goals. So you want to be clear on what you want to achieve and how you will know when you're succeeding. And they give an example here. I'm going to write a blog post on how to achieve the flow state. I'll know that I'm succeeding if I can clearly set out what the flow state is and its major components are and why it's beneficial and how to achieve it. That is an example they've given there of setting a clear goal. The other one is focus completely on the task in hand. That's no distractions, and you don't want anything to take your attention away from that task. So your concentration will be broken otherwise, and that will mean that you're exiting the flow.
This is exactly what we do. I mean, we switch off the socials. I even do this when I'm in my studio. I switch off all my phone, my socials. I'm just focusing on what I'm doing.
It's important. The other fact
no distractions. Yes.
And make sure you've got set aside sufficient time, and it's very likely it's going to take you at least 15 minutes. Actually, they quote here, to start to get into flow state, and a while longer after that until you're fully immersed. So once you enter the flow state, you want to make sure that you make the most of it instead of having to stop prematurely because you have to go and do something else. So you break that flow. The biggest one here, Frank, is monitor your emotional state.
Yeah.
But if you're having trouble entering the flow state, monitor your emotional state. If you're in an aroused state, angry, anxious, worried, so on, try doing something that calms you down first. We kind of go into a meditative state, to be honest.
Yeah.
We come from gratitude, and we come from a place of neutrality and almost like nothingness.
I would love to bring in Andy Andrews here as well, because in his book, The Traveler's Gift, he's talking about the 7 decisions. And one decision is, I choose to be happy. That's powerful.
And coming back to this, it does make me laugh, actually, reading the last paragraph of this, which I'm quoting from this article on. And it actually says, if you are in this low state and you want to get into flow state, do something to pick your energy levels up. You can do jumping jacks. You can eat something that you actually love. You can read something motivational, or my favorite, calling a friend who makes you laugh.
I would call you, Jill.
We call each other. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you definitely have your physiology shift instantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you ever experience something like this, just call Jill or Frank.
Actually, it was funny today because you and I both mastermind what we're going to do on our weekly podcasts. And this week we decided flow state. There's a very, very close, wonderful sacred soul that asked us for this requested subject. And that's why we've gone into it with great in-depth and shared some things, because I know this is very dear to her heart. But I was
Send her the love.
Yeah, send the love. I was actually today in the gym, and then I went for my normal swim, and then I went into the steam room. Now, as it is, there's my flow state. I'm in a place of warmth. I'm in a place where I can just be me. There's nothing to distract me. And
Jill, you gotta share what you downloaded, because this is also something, guys. When you are in flow state, you download information you never imagined. And if that happens, please have a pen and paper ready, because you really want to recall this later.
So I'm going to read it to you. It was very raw, it's very rough. It's a sketch that I did, but it just downloaded and it just felt right to do. So here we go. Flow state bliss. Flow state is ease. Flow state is flow. Flow state is not upstream rowing. Flow state is downstream knowing. Bliss is joy. Bliss is gain. Bliss isn't struggle, pushing hard or pain. Flow is goodness. Flow is love. Flow is a cat stretching. Flow is a hand fitting easily into a glove. Flow state is the art of allowing. Flow state is a must. Flow state is a spiritual universal law. Flow state is trust. Lean into the knowing. Lean into all things, showing you alignment. Be the ease and flow, co-creation. Let go and let in ease and flow.
Wow, this is so cool. I mean, you read it to me before, and I still get goosebumps when you read it. It's amazing, Jill, what you downloaded there. And this totally describes flow state for me. This is flow state. And I think it's a brilliant way to end this episode.
Well, I would like to conclude with a quote from a poet on the flow state. It's like opening a door that's floating in the middle of nowhere. And all you have to do is go and turn the handle and open it and let yourself sink into it. You can't particularly force yourself through it. You just have to float. If there's any gravitational pull, it's from the outside world trying to keep you back from the door.
Beautiful. So all we want to say now is we're sending out love, gratitude, and flow state to everyone who's listening. Thanks for tuning in. We will be back next week with a new episode, Back into Flow State. Jill, what do you say?
Yes, I agree with all that. I would like to send so much flow state love out to everybody who gives us so much flow state love back. Appreciation, gratitude for your time with us here, for your comments on our YouTube channel, and just really for being you. And if we can take you to that special place at the moment where you're feeling like that cat who just wants to stretch out, but just wants to enjoy this moment here present with Frank and I, this is what life's all about. We are in flow state when we are with you. So I would like to say love, peace and blessings. God bless, and speak to you all next week.
And lastly, we always end with spread the love, guys, because this is what it's all about. This is Frank and Jill signing out from where your safe zone for discovering your true self is created. See you next week with another podcast from the higher power.